What's up, Chris, VA Travels, and I'm still here in New York City. I'm waiting on my train, headed down to FRAUNCES Tavern, thought to be the oldest surviving building in Manhattan. And it's famous, it's where George Washington gave his farewell address to his generals at the conclusion of the Revolutionary War. And yeah, check this place out, and I think here is my train.
All right, that was adventurous. I had to do a switch over. I got on the wrong train and I ended up in Brooklyn. So anyway, I'm good now. Here it is, FRAUNCES Tavern. All right, made it, FRAUNCES Tavern. And going to try and do a walk around. It's not gonna be easy, people everywhere. But as I said, I'm Lower Manhattan in the financial district at the corner of Pearl and Broad Street. And yeah, so to give you some history, the first building on this site was built 1671 by a guy, Stephanus Van Cortlandt. And he passed it on to his son-in-law, that would be Stephen Delancey, who was a French Huguenot, just to note. And he built the current building, which was just a mansion at the time. And he passed it on, his descendants passed it on. They sold it to Samuel Francis, who turned it into a tavern. And real quick, just to note, these yellow bricks, which are in kind of an English bond style, these came from the Netherlands. And of course, Manhattan was founded by the Dutch. And yeah, this plaque here looks pretty old. FRAUNCES Tavern, Talmadge Memorial. It looks like the Chamber of Commerce was founded here in 1768. And most famously, this is where, like I had said, George Washington gave his farewell speech at the end of the Revolutionary War. And it took place on the second floor in the Long Room. And the name of the event, it was called Turtle Fest. So take a look at this side. And yeah, the first floor is a restaurant. The museum's on the second floor. And they say the original building probably looked a lot different. It's burned down a couple times over the years, been remodeled. And yeah, it says they added 2 floors in one of the rebuildings. But anyway, so tavern burger, $22, typical New York prices. A couple random notes about this place. During the Revolutionary War, a cannonball busted through the roof. The Sons of Liberty met here. Secret society responsible for the Boston Tea Party. And there was actually a smaller New York Tea Party where they dumped a bunch of tea into the New York harbor, and they dressed as Indians as well. So, also could tell you this place was bombed 1975. 4 people died by some Puerto Rican terrorists. So, anyway, yeah, just a couple random notes. And I'm going to go in and take my tour. And I think this place serves as a hotel as well, because I've seen people carrying luggage in. All right, headed up for the tour. All right, doing my tour. Tickets are $7. And this is the first room. It's a portrait gallery. And yeah, a bunch of portraits I've never seen of Washington. And this one's by Gilbert Stuart. And it says he was an inspiration to Rembrandt Peale.
son of Charles Peale. Over here, this one's by Edward Savage. Painted this 1790, and he painted it for the Harvard College collection, it says. Etching up here, published in Columbia Magazine. And Congress rented out rooms here, and it says John Jay and Henry Knox had a room on the first floor. Check out this bust. Divine, it's like an etching, maybe, engraving, etching. First in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his country. And over here, him on his horse, unknown artist. Okay, so this is the long room. This is where he gave that farewell speech. And like I say, the celebration was called Turtle Fest. Henry Knox was present, it says. They've got all their jugs of ale, smoking pipes. And some sort of checker set. And the bar back here, they've got some sound effects going on. Mount Vernon, yeah. And sorry, I don't have my gimbal. I apologize for any shaky footage. So here it is. All right, and this just talks about how, when Stephen Delancey bought the house, he actually only used it as a residence for a short period of time. The area quickly became commercialized. He used it as a warehouse. Then when Samuel Francis bought it, turned it in, of course, to a tavern, and it was first called the Queen's Head. So it talks about, of course, like I had said, congressional office. So we're here under the Articles of Confederation. Letter to George Washington. And remember, this is where he was inaugurated president at City Hall here, 1789. John Jay. And uses a boarding house through the 1800s. And yeah, it had burned down at one point, and they added the top two stories when they rebuilt. Oh, an original brick they had found. And yeah, from Holland, dates back to 1778. And so I guess the bricks out right now are just a recreation. Yeah, and the building was set for demolition. They were going to build a skyscraper here. Sons of the Revolution stepped in and purchased the place, turned it into a museum. Kente Gallery. Walk around the McKenty Gallery, and here's a little model of the block. Here we are, FRAUNCES Tavern, and this entire block was originally underwater. It was created by landfill. Yeah, it was underwater until 1689. Old cocked hat. And Benjamin Talmadge wrote down an account of the ball. And here's his diary. The Knox Trophy is given to the United States Military Academy cadet with the highest rating of military efficiency. And this talks about how George Washington lost his first battle of Long Island. British troops took over New York. Washington had to flee, and he fled to that Morris Jamel house I was at earlier. Nathaniel Hale. Coffin fragment. Okay. Old swords, bayonet, Battle of Princeton. For any Fredericksburg people out there, that's where Hugh Mercer died. Turtle soup. I told you this was called Turtle Fest. Punch bowl. Pretty cool flag. Early American flag. I don't know why it has just 5 stars. Over here, this just talks a little about the Sons of Liberty. And of course, a group that formed after the Stamp Act. Over here, this says Rebellious Stripes. 5 red, 4 white. Each stripe represents one of the colonies that were at the Stamp Act Congress. And an old map of Manhattan. And we're somewhere around here. And remember, this was all originally underwater. And that's where I took my train. Tar and feathering. Yeah, the Sons of Liberty, if they found a Tory, a British loyalist, they would supposedly tar and feather them. There's kind of a famous old painting. And they would force them to drink boiling hot tea, supposedly. But realistically, you can get third-degree burns if somebody pours hot tar on you. So, unless they had a different way they did it. Some little fragments down here. Flintlock musket. And this thing is a halberd. And sergeants would usually carry these, and they were pretty much used as a staff to tell the army to halt and to proceed. Yeah, like I had said, there was a New York Tea Party, and they got that idea after the Boston Tea Party. And what happened is, first they tried to raid a ship called the Nancy. It got away. Then another ship arrived, the London. It wasn't carrying tea, except for the captain had 13 chests of tea, so they tossed that overboard. All right, we walk back here. Oh, the Gadsden flag, the timber rattlesnake, and designed by Christopher Gadsden. He was a politician and military officer from South Carolina. And this says the flag nowadays is used to kind of symbolize anti-government sentiment. And I think this is going to be the end back here. Back here, the captured flag from Yorktown when it was laid at the feet of Congress, 1781. Pretty good paintings back here. And this is the defense of Fort Washington, November 16th, 1776. This guy down here nursing his wound. Battle of Monmouth. Henry Knox over here.
All right, guys, that's it for Fraunces Tavern. Well worth the trip, and see you on the next one.